Shabbat Shalom. What do you want to be when you grow up? This is a question posed to all of us at different points in our lives. Of course, the implications changing as we get older, but the underlying fear and anxiety are the same. What will I do with my life that has meaning? As children, we aspire to be all different things. We are inspired by the people that we meet and the roles that they play in our lives. I am sure Jared does not remember this, but when he was little, he once told me that he wanted to grow up and be a school bus driver, specifically a field trip driver, because he wanted to be in a job that would take kids to places that would make them happy. As we get older, we begin to think about this on a more practical level. What will I do that gives me meaning and parnasa, a sense of stability and income? How do I understand and maximize my own talents? How do I begin to understand that there are different things that I can do? In this week's Parsha, amidst the sibling rivalry and family conflicts, we have a statement of fact, if you will, in our text. We are told that the two boys, the sons of Isaac and Rebekah, Esau and Jacob, grew up. And when the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the outdoors, and Jacob was a mild man who stayed in the camp. How did they decide what they were going to do? What led them to engage in these specific tasks? We know, of course, that no two children are alike, not even twins, and that we shouldn't put external pressure on them for them to be what we think they should be, but we should allow kids to explore what they can become. So how does this happen? How do we begin to uncover at all different points in our lives what we are destined to do? The beginning way to answer this is by looking at the next part of our Parsha in Toldot, where Isaac goes to Avimelech, the king of the Philistines, in Gerar for help, because there is a famine in Canaan, the land. After making the money and the food that he needs to make, and trying to pass off his wife as his sister, a story for another time, we are told that he departed from the Philistines and encamped in the Wadi of Gerar, where he settled, and began to dig anew the wells that had been dug by his father Abraham. So of course the obvious question is, why did he have to dig up his father's wells? What was he searching for? Was this a practical or a spiritual search? One commentary understands that the Philistines had stopped up the wells to make the symbolic point that Abraham's messages were not wanted. But Isaac understood that he needed to uncover these ideas, the relationship between God and human beings, in order to continue an important line, a line that was on the line. A colleague of mine thought that this meant something different. She felt that the idea of Isaac redigging the wells of his father meant that Isaac was searching for the source of his path. And just as we need to answer the practical question of what do I want to do when I grow up, we also need to answer, where did my spirituality begin to come from, but then where am I going to take it? In each generation, we have to dig to the source. Sometimes that's in the same place as the previous generation, and sometimes that's in a different direction. But we are always seeking the path, the nourishment from the tradition, a way to reconnect us, to make sense of our lives. Moreover, in our tradition, in the Gemara, which Julia referenced earlier, the Talmud earlier today, we learn that if one sees a well in a dream, they can understand that peace will come. Then that same Gemara quotes the verse from our portion, that Yitzchak built the well and called it Be'er Mayim Chayim, a wellspring of living water. The problem, however, with this Gemara is what is not said, that the digging of the well did cause some initial fighting with the Philistines over the land. But we learn that peace came just a bit later. In fact, another commentary, the Torah Tamima, understands the Gemara as meaning, in the end, there was peace, because the end of the story is a peace treaty with Avimelech. But how does this further our understanding that by digging wells, we can begin to find our own aspirations? By asking the question, back to the Gemara. Why is it important to see a dream? Because I would add that a dream is not something that just happens when we are sleeping, but something that happens all of the time. A dream is an aspiration that takes work to achieve. A dream is what we see as our goals in life. So first we must create the dream and then understand how we should work for it. So the message here in our Gemara that there was fighting before there was peace is to show us that accomplishing a dream is not easy, but it is also not unattainable. From the time Yitzchak built his first well, he wanted peace, and he had to build many to get there. That is the hard part. As I thought about this, I was reminded by a teaching of Rabbi David Wolpe. He shared the following story. When his daughter was 2 years old, she gave him a glimpse into the origins of art. She was identifying parts of Winnie the Pooh, and she said, this is the nose, this is the eyes, and when she reached the eyebrows, she said, and these are Winnie the Pooh's moons. For her, the crescent shape was a moon. It never occurred to her to think otherwise. Wolpe recalls that he remembers reading an argument that innovation in science is the province of the young because the young haven't learned too many ideas yet. Ideas are often the product of immersion and learning, but they can also be the world of the children with fresh perspectives. And to turn those ideas into art or science takes discipline, learning, and time. To make dreams come true takes a little bit of time, but we can work towards it. We realize that we can all still ask the question, what do I want to be when I grow up? And recognize that though we all might have different amounts of time, we don't need to ever stop trying. But the dreams of our children is one that should not be placated or ignored. How we raise our children up to be what they want to be, to chase and fulfill their dreams, to help them on their endeavors, is something that we as a community can and must do together. So we as a community begin to dream, what are the dreams for our children? What are their dreams? How do we help them on their path? Julia, you are an incredible young woman. You love volleyball and tennis and fashion and traveling. There are so many places I can see you go in the future. But I know that whatever direction, whatever wells you will dig up, whatever paths you will do it with empathy and care. Your love of your family always shines through. Your commitment to your friends is evident, and you are such a hard worker. So Julia, my hope on this bat mitzvah day of yours is that you may dream many dreams, that you create many paths, that you dig many wells, for you are someone who is going to follow your passion wherever it takes, and we can't wait to be with you on that journey. Shabbat Shalom.